If science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion, otherwise you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Where you been?
Drunk.
Wendy, darling, light of my life.
What's your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
That's right.
Guildenstern.
Or is it Guildenstern and Rosencrantz? Which is it?
Or is it Guildenstern and Rosencrantz?
Guildenstern and Guildenstern?
Do you want to know my fun fact for this movie?
Yeah, please tell me. Start us with the fun fact.
Gary Oldman was casted as Rosencrantz, and what's his name?
Tim Roth?
Tim Roth. He was supposed to be Guildenstern. But then they casted Tim Roth as Rosencrantz.
Wait, but like the whole bit too is that you don't know who anyone is, so it works.
Yeah, it does. That's a good bit, man.
It's
It's
the bit.
How about wait? We can do this. Welcome to Coldest Cinema Knowledge Podcast. I'm Jordan. That's Levi. We're getting started today.
Am I Jordan?
Or
other way around. I'm Jordan. That's Levi.
Am I Levi? I mean, I always do the introduction, so
yeah,
it is. Yeah, so
that's true.
Yeah, we are characters, man.
Coldest Cinema Knowledge. We watching. This might be a shorter episode. I'm delirious with probable food poisoning. And we'll see how much we have to say about this movie, but we forewarned because I'll just get it out of the way. I quite enjoyed this. I really liked it, but it's like, like it's clever. The screenplay is very clever.
I agree with that sentiment. I did not enjoy any of this, but I would like listen to the audiobook or watch like a, condensed play. My biggest gripe about this movie is it has like UCLA audition like energy. Like it feels like these kids are coming, they're 20 years old, going to UCLA.
Oh yeah, I mean it feels
trying
like
to get into the
low
the theater department.
Yeah.
And it like no, not even like that doesn't bother me. The acting when it comes to like they're supposed
that
to be
comes
doing
with
this,
anything
like,
that's Shakespearean, I think though too, where it's just like it feels like a little pretentious, a little like overacting, and yeah, like definitely like the theater with a capital.
The parts that bothered the parts that bothered me the most is not when they were acting to like drive plot forward and they're having like conversations. There are some,
that's
like,
a loose term, but
Sure, right. But like they blew me out of the water. Like so many scenes set up where like I love when they're by the campfire at the beginning and they're flipping the coin and they're talking about probability of the coin, like, landing on heads that many times, like 170 times or whatever. That's like, I love that conversation. And then I love when it moves in and they have the conversation when they're doing it as like a tennis match.
Oh, that's so good. That's like the
they're
best
batting
thing.
it back and forth. That is like, that's peak, dude. I was like, holy shit, that's so good. But
yeah, it's so
the
good.
stuff where they're like, I fully understand that them putzing around and doing those like all the bits with like the Newton cradle, and then the pot breaks and stuff. I know exactly what they were going for, and they succeeded. They nailed it. It like really was this. It was supposed to be kind of like mundane, and we're like waiting, and it's like supposed to be funny, but man, it was it was painful for me. Like this would be great as like an hour 45 minutes.
This was like
this is what this movie is. This is a movie that is really solid, and I would love to see somebody with like more chops make it again. Like I would, I would love to see this
Yeah, I can
adapted
see
again.
I can see that because like this movie was like an hour 41 or something like that, and it's like this should have been like a 79 minutes. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, right.
because it's like
Yeah.
even though I obviously liked it way more than you, like I liked it a lot. Like I was really digging. Like couldn't pick two better leads. I mean, their acting was fine, but it's just like like I love Gary Oldman and Tim Roth, and just like in their fucking early 20s, just like fucking just buddy copping together around this place. Was great, but it's like by the third act, I was kind of like, yeah, all right. Like I've seen all its tricks, and then by then it was kind of just like, how do we wrap it up and make it like metaphysical with like on all the pirate ship stuff? Like it was cool, but it was kind of like unnecessary. Anyway, let me let's back it up. Let's pump the brakes just a little bit. So let's do a quick synopsis, just real quick. I'm not a fucking Shakespeare historian or anything.
Did you do Hamlet in high school?
We went to the same high school, bro. No,
I know. But like, we didn't go to the same class for like.
I know that's
English.
true.
Like,
no,
we did. I think we did like Midsummer's Night Dream, or I don't know if we actually did like one.
We did read Hamlet and Macbeth, but I get them all like confused. But those are the only two I'm kind of familiar with.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't like super familiar with this story.
What's Ron? Is Ron Macbeth or is it Hamlet? I know it's one of them.
I'm pretty sure.
Macbeth, right?
I'm pretty sure it's Macbeth because it's Macbeth. The one I always get different. It's like Macbeth is the one who usurps the throne, and he gets told by the crones, like the prophecy and stuff. So I'm pretty sure that's Rand, because then like, or Throne of Blood is maybe Macbeth. One of them. One of them.
And then Hamlet. I think Ron might be Hamlet, right?
No, I don't know.
He sees like the ghostly figure of like his dad or something, right? The king. I don't know. We really, we're not Shakespeare
vaguely familiar with, like, I'm familiar with the story enough, but I thought they did a pretty good job of like sprinkling it in where it's like I knew what was going on in the background. You know what I mean? I got it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without having to do like homework or something. So anyway, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead follows the titular characters, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, right? They're like, they've been summoned, but it's a very metaphysical, like a meta commentary, a very like kind of self-aware, like characters in a story. They start flipping this coin and they realize that it's always heads and everything's strange and they kind of don't remember anything and they just like kind of exist. Like, again, like it works really well on paper, I feel like, where it's just like, whoa, we're like, who are we? Like, we're characters in a story. Essentially a vibe, you know what I mean? Very, very tongue-in-cheek like that. So they eventually run into this band of players, this like theater troupe.
Those guys rocked, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. But
Yeah, rapier and rape.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. And so they run into those guys and they have kind of interaction with them, and it's kind of weird and awkward, and they leave them in the dust. And they get in a castle. They've been summoned by the king to, do Macbeth stuff, come talk to Macbeth because they're friends with Macbeth, and they're like trying to figure out, and so the whole story is like they'll be in there doing their Macbeth moments, their actual like scenes, or not Macbeth, sorry.
I know, yeah, Hamlet.
They'll be doing the Hamlet scenes, and then they'll be like off on the side, like, that's weird, like, what are we doing? And then it's very much about the wordsmith of it all, and all the while their names are mixed up. So I'm just, I liked that bit where it's just like you kind of don't know which one's which in the story.
Yeah.
And they don't know who they are themselves, and one of them, Gary Oldman's character keeps, I feel like, discovering physics. And I think that's kind of the joke, because he's like not a real human. He's like, because it's like the whole thing is very surreal of like, oh, what is character? Like, what is an actor? You know what I mean? Like, kind of thing. He's like, oh, it's like, check this out, just discovering how the world works like a child. But they're going along, they're doing their Hamlet thing, and it really is just a lot of them bumbling around in between scenes and feeling like they fudged it up and having weird occurrences with Richard Dreyfuss, who's like the leader of the troupe. They eventually find out from one of the plays of the troupe how the story ends. which they kind of like do the play and premonition, and they're like, wait, what do you mean the two lovable sidekick characters die? And so they start contemplating in the back third their mortality a little bit more and be like, what is death? What's that like? You know, it's a lot of musings and such. And then eventually they do. I really did like kind of like the interpretation of Hamlet. Like he was just like they made him like a fucking psycho, especially like the last shot of him where he like just jumps onto the pirate ship and he's like, ha ha, you know, basically.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, they eventually get duped by Hamlet and hung, which they kind of see coming. And, you know, they're, you know, Gary Oldman's like, oh, it's actually kind of a relief, you know, to not have to be alive and worry about it and just kind of go. And Tim Ross like, yeah, next time we'll figure it out, you know, or whatever. And so they're hung and they're killed. And as it goes, it's very much, it's kind of an experimental side quest of a movie. That the plot, the plot is just.
I kept calling it
Hamlet.
Everybody I was telling about it, I was like, this is just fanfic. So it's somebody in like the 60s was like the same director, whatever his name is.
Right, from the original play from the 60s.
Yeah, from the original play. Like he wrote the play and he like directed the play for years, and then he like this was supposed to be made in the 80s. They like MGM or something bought it, and they were gonna like attach a bunch of big stars to it and stuff, and so like that kind of fell through. And then when this happened, it was like, you know, he was on board to direct and stuff, you know, and then like, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of stuff. But anyways, yeah, so the original guy directed it. It's the only movie he's directed ever in his life, like film, and it definitely shows.
Yeah, it shows.
Yeah, yeah, right. Which is fine. I was making a joke because right at the end, the credits, it says cinematographer, and he comes up, and I was like, that guy didn't do anything.
No, I mean, I think there's some pretty.
That was the easiest paycheck.
Nah, I mean, true, but it does feel like it was more like the composition. Like there's some good composed shots, and the editing was pretty solid. But yeah, it's not nothing to write home about. This is definitely, I mean, all the movies this month, very few kind of have that prowess because that's never the focus. Like obviously the focus in this is surprisingly the writing, which for a Shakespeare, for a movie that's like so much about Shakespeare, where it's just like a Shakespeare intervention, I think is what they're called, right? It's like a creative intervention. But it's like so much about the writing and not really about like the acting. It's like the dudes act very well, but they're kind of like they're one note.
Yeah, it's them reciting the lines, and that's
their vibe.
The lines.
They're very charming, and they have good chemistry together, and the editing makes it really snappy. You know what I mean? But it is heavily reliant. And it's like the writing is really good. It's really really clever and really smart in the dialogue. But it's not like
that's what I'm saying. Like
it's not like a well written story, but it is a very like cleverly written, like, I don't know, musings and like philosophical debates and like things about, it's like one of those kind of movies. You're just kind of sitting around. It's not so much about like, the human experience as of like the artist's experience and like the act of creation and like words.
It was cool. Like it was cool to know that it was based on Hamlet and to be like, oh, it's kind of fun to be like, okay, so all their scenes that aren't interacting with a different character, you know, that is truly in Hamlet, and you know that by like them talking about the plot of Hamlet essentially. It's hard though. It's like it's such a bummer because this movie like doesn't stand on its own. You have to know Hamlet.
I disagree.
Even just,
I don't know.
Even tentatively. No, I mean I
think it's spelled. I think you have to.
You didn't.
But
I think
it would be
have to
weird.
Know the characters to be invested about the whole idea, though.
I don't know.
That's the thing. Like to grasp the whole idea. I think that for me, what made the movie like stand on its own two legs was the fact that they added the players, the whole theater troupe, to explain the whole story of Hamlet to somebody who hasn't seen Hamlet, thus to give you like more grounded context to like who these characters are.
For sure.
And that really helped a lot.
Yeah, I think
that's just my argument is like
not knowing
like without Hamlet, this movie kind of like, you know, I mean, it just wouldn't exist, and so it's like that's like a big part of it too. But I don't know. I like you can watch this film without knowing anything about Hamlet.
I'm taking what you're meaning. I think what I'm saying is I I don't think you need to know like what Hamlet is or what it's about, but it's just like, yeah, you kind of, in order to get it, like I think you could still watch it, enjoy it, but in order to get it, you kind of have to know that Hamlet is already a pre-existing thing. Like, and it's like, but I think that's kind of what's going on. It's like there are a few stories more famous than Hamlet. You know what I mean, in the world.
Right.
So I think that's like the thing. But yeah, no, that's true. If you had no idea who William Shakespeare was or what Hamlet was or anything, you'd just be like, why is it suddenly like when every time somebody else comes into the scene, they're just like talking way crazier and it's like way more serious all of a sudden. But then it's just like as soon as they leave the scene, they're like, what was that about? Which way the wind's blowing? And how do you think that went? You know,
for me, yeah, right. That was awesome. I love that. For me though, I don't know much about Hamlet, obviously, and so watching this, I like popped up like just a paragraph synopsis of Hamlet, and I was like, oh, okay, my like memory was jogged. It's like to know that Hamlet had to pretend that he was crazy to trick his, you know, his what does he call it? Like father, uncle, and mother. Okay, whatever.
Mother aunt or whatever. Yeah,
mother aunt and father, uncle. Yeah. So it's like he's pretending to be crazy so that he can get them to like slip up and like confess that they plotted to kill his dad to get the throne. And it's like that's it. That's like this. That's pretty much what you need to know about it to really get the context of this movie. And so like that helps a lot. But I like what's crazy though is like these two, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, they like adaptations of Hamlet. Sometimes they're not even in it because they literally have like two scenes, and they're like, and then I think it's like all like, off camera that they send a letter. They're on a ship to take the letter to have Hamlet, beheaded, but it turns out Hamlet knew that, and so he wrote a letter to trick them.
Yeah, and I thought they did a good job of that because it's that's why
I like how they did it.
Like you say with the players doing like showing the rest of the story so you can have context because it's like it feels like the only scenes that they're actually in. It's like when they first show up and then like the king comes in and talks to them and is like, go talk to my boy. And then like the one scene where they're all like at the table and Hamlet kind of talks at them and he's like, so how do you think that went, at the end? And he's like, no, it was terrible. It was like 32-1. Like it was all non sequiturs and fucking ramblings about musings about life and shit.
No.
And so like, I think that's funny that those scenes like are specifically like, again, not 100% sure, but based on the context of the movie, feels like verbatim out of the script, like they would weave into the moment.
It is.
Just based on the way they talk and everything, it kind of changes his cadence and everything, which I thought was really clever. But it's like, I want to see, even though the execution, and like I said, I was really into it for like the first hour. And then the back like 40, I still liked it, but I was kind of like, yeah, I get it. I've seen everything. And they're going to die, and it's all philosophical. And then the pirate ship attack was like goofy, but like sure, but fun.
I kept being like, it felt like a made for TV movie, which it's fine. It's like I don't know. There were so many times where like the film they wouldn't be in focus, and like the film grain was acting really, really wild,
aggressive. Yeah, it was aggressive.
It's funny. This is one of those where it's like, when you watch a movie and you're like, oh my God, this is their like freshman film. And you're like, damn, it's so cool. Like, it's like, wow, this is crazy. You can see like, even if it's rough around the edges, you can be like, oh, wow, what they're doing is so cool. And then like, and then they continue to make films and you're like mind blown. This is kind of like, he was like, I want to make the film for some reason. And I think it's because like a director dropped out or something. I'm like, I can't remember. I was just reading something about it, but it's like, so he was just like, well, I'll do it. And then like the budget was crazy low. And what was wild is fucking Sean Connery. Yeah, Sean Connery. He was gonna play Richard Dreyfuss's character, the player.
Oh, interesting.
But he left to do Red October, Hunt for the Red October.
Oh, wow, that's probably good for him. Yeah,
yeah, dude. I'm like, and that movie's really good. Go listen to that. Go listen to our podcast about that. But yeah.
Yeah,
but
movie is
I don't know what I was.
Yeah,
I don't know what I was getting at. Right.
No, it does feel sort of amateur though. No, I like 100% through line.
That's the thing. Yeah, and I can look past that. I can definitely 100% look past that. but it just like it got to a point where I was like, oh, this looks like I'm watching like a Wishbone episode, like to where it's like it was just, and it's because
this is your
really
Gen Xer friends. Theater friends like favorite movie that's like, oh, you never seen like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern?
Yeah. Well, and then it's because I didn't know this existed.
I saw this at East Hollywood. I've seen.
Oh, you did?
I've
Okay.
seen. Well, I've seen like. I mean, I probably just went and got stoned and then like left early or something, but because I didn't watch. I definitely didn't watch the whole thing. But one of the classes at school, they showed this in class, and I'd watched like 30 minutes of it or something. And so it's like, right. I know the concept, I knew who was in it, and I kind of like knew the general vibe, but I never like actually watched the whole thing.
Well, let's touch on that. It's pretty dope to get like just like fresh off the like, you know, the UCLA showroom floor. Yeah. Like Tim Roth. No, I mean they were in pictures, both of them, like Gary Oldman.
But not much. Like
they
both exploded like a couple years after this. You know what I mean?
Exactly, 100%. And I gotta say, like, it's so weird to see Gary Oldman, A, young, and B, not playing a character like you know, deep either under prosthetics or just deep into character. Even when he plays we just watched Dark Knight recently, and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, he has glasses, but it's like his makeup and his acting and like everything about him in that movie. I'm like, oh, he's still kind of hiding behind this character. And it's kind of wild. It's like watching this movie. I'm like, they're not really, since these characters have only been flushed out due to the fact that this has been like a play that's well established.
Yeah,
it's like weird to see him kind of be himself the most.
So hot and young too. But yeah.
Oh well, dude. Yeah,
I was weirded out. Kind of because it's like Gary Oldman played the kind of like a more aloof character, you know, that's like definitely kind of like the sillier one, and Tim Roth is a little bit more of like the kind of the serious, maybe a little smarter.
It's because his earring, dude.
It's a super dope earring. That's how you know.
It's beautiful. Yeah, dude.
But I thought that was interesting because it is kind of the opposite, where it's like Tim Roth has definitely been in more wackier roles. You know what I mean? And like bombastic, like all the Tarantinos. I mean, like fucking, even though it's like quote unquote serious, but like look at Hateful Eight when he's like fucking the British hangman and everything. It's like, but then you look at fucking Gary Oldman, who's like Winston Churchill and shit. It's like, you know, it's like I thought that dynamic was kind of interesting, and it was cool to see him kind of do the opposite because what I know of them now, I would kind of expect the opposite, right?
Right. Yeah. But I always think of Gary Oldman and fucking The Fifth Element.
I forgot he was in that, but I think about him with his weird, crazy, goopy hair.
Yeah, his weird like Hitler cut that's like with the plastic like on one side.
I think of him eating pills and Leon the Professional. Like, that is what blew him up, though. I'm pretty sure it was a couple years after this.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it's like him as like the antagonist thing on The Professional. He's just like chomping those pills down and just going nuts, and killing a fucking whole family.
Dude, you gotta, that's good. We need to watch Tiptoes we need to watch Tiptoes one day. It's this long forgotten, you know, bygone film that is just so, it's one of those like movies where it's like there was no ableism and there was no racism in the 90s, so we just did it, baby. We made the movie where Gary Oldman plays like a dwarf that has normal sized family or something, and it's like I can't think of his name. I'm there for it. Apparently it's like bonkers. Like he literally plays like he glues shoes to his knees, and he's like walking on his knees the whole time doing it, dude. We gotta, Gary Oldman, dude, he melts into the role.
Sounds great. Oh yeah, and he's the best part of what's that Quentin Tarantino movie that he wrote? True Blood? No, what's it called? Why am I forgetting it? With Christian Slater. Oh my God, never mind. It's his first movie. It was like 89 though. Like he wrote it, Tarantino. And Gary Oldman's in it, and he's got all the dreads. Anyway,
I know what you're talking about.
True Romance. God damn.
A True Romance.
Yeah, it's True Romance. But no, this. Can I tell you real quick? So I did like this movie. Yeah. I agree with like the TV, the like made for TV movie vibes. But the most offending thing for me that is very much made for TV vibes was the very little of what you could call the score. I'm using air quotes for those of you just listening.
Oh my God.
That,
yes.
Where it's just literally like a dude on a guitar, like blues guitar in the 90s. It sounds like a Disney Channel original movie or something. And it's only just like they're on the woods and he's just like, like it just does not fit at all.
And it has like a junkyard dog like being murdered,
dude.
Just like it's like a howling junkyard dog.
I feel like a blues could have fit for this if they would have really leaned into the blues. But like this felt like every generic 90s low budget, like I need two dudes doing the thing. And they used it so little, thank God. But I think that they used it so little because they realized it was just not working for the vibe. You know what I mean? Like, because they had it like at the beginning and they had some at the end, but overall it was all pretty just diegetic noise and stuff. You know what I mean? Because it was driving me every time it came in, it would take me out of it so hard. I'd just be like, oh, no, please no. I'm like, what did they say? I cannot literally focus on their words because this fucking twangy ass guitar that just does not fit at all. But so I appreciated that it wasn't there that often though, because it's like, I appreciate it just because it was a lot of just echoey, like, you know, the two sets that they reuse like 10 times, just echoing on there, and it's just like the bit where they kept like yelling and like disturbing like the echoes, but like disturb the other people. Like those are good bits.
But it's like they're good bits, but they're executed poorly, and it's fine. They're serviceable.
So I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Watching this movie, it's serviceable. Like him, I mean, like what sucks is like it's weird, man. I'm trying to think. Like it really just comes down to like it's timing, and so I think like the editing in this is awkward because they're doing a lot of the bits. Like I just keep thinking like the one when he goes to juggle, it shows him juggle the two balls.
Oh yeah,
he sets everything up. You know, and you know what's coming because it's like it's already been established earlier that like everything he tries he fails, and so it's just like when he goes to juggle and then everything falls, it's like I'm getting nothing. I'm like I would actually kind of feel like visceral rage.
I know. I'm just imagining you, just like in the dark.
You have no
just
idea.
Your light cast at an upward angle on your face.
Yeah, no, dude. And I'm just like, got my fingers like this, you know, like go to the YouTube and
You're
look.
the Shia LaBeouf
my fingers like this, and I'm just, yeah, exactly. And I'm looking down at the computer, and I know it's coming, and it happens, and there's nothing inside of me.
You think this ball and this feather would, you think this would fall faster than the feather? And he does it, and you'd be absolutely right. And Jordan's just like, and I think it's like not even a chuckle.
No, nothing.
It got me. I got some chuckles. I got some chuckles.
Dry as a bone, dude. I did not laugh. I did not appreciate any. No, I'm just kidding. But I definitely like. There was so much about this that I really did appreciate.
Yeah.
And it was mainly the like. I loved. It's like I liked when it was like delivering.
Well, it felt like
which is
the way they do the back and forths with the dialogue. Some of it is quite clever and is interesting philosophical musings, but when it feels like it's like two words, like a word joust, like a word like they're fencing with words, or like the tennis match, like you say, like that's peak. That's the best part. Like I really like the opening too with the coin and stuff, but them doing the questions game to like kind of pass the time because that's like all they know. It's because like they are words in a way, like they're just fabricated from words. Yeah. Like that's their whole existence. Like they don't really know who they are or what they are. They have no memories of their past. They just kind of exist. And so it's like, no, I'm really glad that this movie exists, and I wish more movies existed like it. But it does leave a lot to be desired. I'll give you that for sure. I did enjoy all the highs more than the lows took me out of it.
And I agree. And that's why I will remember this movie as being like, I'm like, oh shit, it's solid. Because I don't think about the parts that I hate. I'm just thinking about the parts that I really enjoyed. Like when they're in the courtyard and he's like, they do the apple bit where it's like it knocks him on the head, you know, and he talks about that. But then it's like when they're doing the interrogation, like, oh my gosh, what's it called? Like when they're just doing like, he's trying to pretend to be himself.
Oh yeah.
Or he's trying to pretend to be the king, and he's like, okay, now you'll be me. And then like that whole exchange where they're like, basically it's the like who's on third.
Yeah,
you know,
there's
whoever
yeah,
who's on
yeah,
first. Yeah, they do like that bit between it. I loved that.
It's
Like,
good.
it's like that's the thing where I'm like like
that's
you
when
said,
it's
the
clever.
highs
That's
hit
when it's
high.
firing. Yeah, that's when it's firing.
Like when it's like oh this is where the writing carries it. Like I
Yeah,
would imagine that
100%.
this is like a Streetcar Named Desire. They do a lot of that play on one square set, and they have very little like it's all just acting basically. You know, there's very little set pieces and there's nothing like it's not really like a larger than life play, and that's how I feel like this one probably is when it's like performed. It's probably just done with like one backdrop, and then they just like walk and there's just like sheets, you know, kind of like what the players do when they the players do that, like that water effect where she's drowning and stuff.
Exactly.
That's so sick, dude.
I feel like this would be
that's the stuff
that's why
really
this is fun. I feel like this would be fun for like a high school production to like put on, or a college production to put on to play.
Yeah.
Because you could get kind of creative with it without having to really try and sell it, because it is sort of, you know, meta. You know, and
it's heady. Yeah, it's real heady. They're just talking like that's what's. That's
but
what's
it's
fun
fast.
about
It's sharp. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's like it's sharp. You know, I like that.
Yeah. And
but
I think that's
the
where I
script-
agree.
The script is like really, really good, but like the production is.
You don't need to know Hamlet for a lot of this movie, because it's just them. It is like you said, just two characters contemplating their existence. You know, like inside of just you didn't even need Hamlet necessarily as much as like they're like, how do we exist within this world with like, you know, the larger hierarchy of the king and queen happening, and then this like crazy guy talking to a chicken, like them, you know, and then it's like you kind of find out they're friends and stuff. I do agree, like to an extent that like,
they
you
do a good
could
job with
watch
the
this movie
context and
without-
everything, but like it's
Yeah,
better
but
for it, and it assumes like. I'm glad it went out of the way,
think it
because
does.
it does assume that you have at least an inkling, but it does. I'm glad it takes the effort to tutorialize you, I guess, kind of with it.
And I don't, and it's, I guess like that honestly doesn't really bother me that much. Like as we talk through it right now, like I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's like, you don't, yeah. Like, cause I didn't have you know, vast knowledge of Hamlet.
I
But
know.
it's just, like,
I'm actually
the
pissed
little bit
that
I did.
since I'm like an English major, I'm gonna have to fucking probably read a lot
You're
of
gonna have
Shakespeare.
to- Yeah. But I think it'll be fun for you, man. It's like
I don't mind. I
some
don't
of the
mind
like,
Shakespeare.
dude, like strumpet, man. That's such a good, it's such a good word.
Strumpet's
man.
good. Yeah.
That's good. Like a lot of the words in there, I'm like, oh, these are nice, dude. Yeah.
You know, another thing really stood
Lead,
out to me. I wonder, because since you're the like you're the fun fact guy, you know what I mean? That's you. You do.
Yeah.
I don't know if you did any research on this at all, but I wonder if you could
I
tell
did
me.
a little.
Did they film this entire movie on a 30-degree set, because it looked fucking
Yes.
freezing?
They did.
Like-
They shot it in a castle. They shot it in a castle in Croatia, which is not what is Croatia? See, I don't know geography and world history, but it's not Croatia anymore, or it was something. It flip flopped. I don't know.
Don't
Anyway,
ask me, but it
that
must have
was-
been
yeah,
cold.
So it was, yes, 100%. It was shot on location.
You could see their breaths in like every scene.
I actually, I liked that. I think
it
added
added
such
like
a good
a
effect.
like a reality to.
Right. Which this movie like lacks so much depth. Not even for the context of the movie, like of plot, but just like watching this movie, I'm like, God, it doesn't feel grounded at all. Like and that's the thing that bothers me is like, I'm like, are you supposed to be a set, or are you supposed to be like, do you want to make this real? Like,
I think that's the thing, though. It's not.
This was hella low budget too.
Yeah,
so.
but like it's one of those movies that it's like it's not trying to like. Most movies try to present you with something as reality, or at least a close facsimile to reality, and try to like tell you a story and like get you to have a certain suspension of disbelief and care about like a growth of the characters and like this agenda. Like this movie is like, I feel like, yeah, it kind of breaks the mold between, like, it's definitely not doing that. It's taking a Shakespearean play, which is already so far removed from reality, just kind of as is. It's such like a big epic tragedy. And then doing like a spin-off of it, of just like musings of like, what's real? Am I in a play vibes? Where it's just like, am I a real person or am I a character? Like, type of vibe. And so like, I like that, because it's like very, like, just not literal at all. Like, it is just that's the lens that it wants to be seen through, and so it doesn't really spend a lot of time trying to like ground it or muse it. Like especially it's like the way it cuts and stuff is just sometimes when it's doing bits it's goofy. Like when they first meet the players and it's like we'll do whatever, and it's like ghosts, and then like a guy in a sheet comes up. It's like it's like it is doing it for the audience. Like that's the thing. This movie is like nothing but fourth wall breaks, like a play.
That's why I say it's fanfic, dude. It's
it
like,
is. Well, 100%.
That's, you know,
Yeah,
that's
100%.
Right? Because it is, and it like, but it does. I think it is like it's strong on that fact, and that it's. We got to give credit or credit's due, but Tom Stoppard is the guy who wrote it and directed it, and he. So it's funny. I'm like, he's a great writer, and we have seen a film that he wrote, but it's directed by like a really strong director. And it has the same exact problem this movie does, where it loses you kind of in the last third. Brazil, dude. He wrote Brazil.
Okay.
And so so like that's pretty fun. But
it does. You get kind of tangled in the weeds because there's a lot of like.
Yeah.
Same with this is kind of similar to Brazil, where there's like a lot of. I mean, Brazil had like a dystopian like conspiracy through line to kind of quote unquote ground it, I guess. But it's like juggling. Doing a lot of shit, trying to juggle a lot of things about like,
well, dream reality.
Yeah,
too,
it's hard to bring it all together in a satisfying way at the end.
Brazil's so good.
I love Brazil.
Robbie D in that. Robbie D in that movie is so good.
Brazil's great. We should watch more Terry Gilliam.
I know we really.
There's quite a few of his I haven't seen. I just wish there was more movies like this because it's like, I'm sure there are some. And I actually should look it up to see what more movies that are like take a famous movie or something that's already done and then do a side character of it. So it's like literally before I got on the podcast with you, I was working on homework. And one of my assignments for my English class, it's a fine English class, but most of them were like critical analysis of the short story or whatever. But this one assignment is literally a creative intervention that I've been working on for like a week. That is like, take one of the stories we read and change it in a way, like change the genre or make it about two side characters. So I literally took a short story and then I wrote that we read in class, and I wrote a separate short story that was just about like 4 side characters that were mentioned in like one paragraph. And I wrote like their whole experience and turned it into like kind of a horror story. And it was fun. And it's like, I want to see. It is fan fiction-y. Really. It is kind of fan fiction-y, and you got to play around with stuff. But it's just like, I'd love to see classic, famous movies get like a genre twist where it like takes a side character and just kind of does it to them. But it works through this because again, it's like the musings and stuff. If it was too grounded, it might not be as fun. I don't know. Like I don't know if it would work if it was like they had their like a very strong plot and they were like doing shit. Unless it was like, turns out they were like affecting the story the whole time. Like that's fun. But there's a lot of stuff you could do with it though, is my point, right? It's like you can do a lot with this storytelling device. And I'd like to see more of it, especially like, take public domain stuff. How many shit's in the public domain? And just kind of like, make it adjacent. You know what I mean? I'm going to do that.
That'd be cool.
I'm going to take a famous public domain story. I keep saying I'm going to do something with the Invisible Man, but
I know. Oh my God, I know we do the Invisible Man.
I want to do an Invisible Man stop motion so bad.
We're on board. Yeah, we're on board with that world, man. But and he wrote Shakespeare in Love as well, so that's kind of that's cool. He really kept the.
Did he? Wasn't there a conspiracy behind like that was stolen? Like I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure he got like sued for millions of dollars or something because it was like plagiarized or some shit. I don't know the whole story. I do remember a controversy about after that. It's been over 20 years, right? Other than it won Best Picture over Saving Private Ryan, which everyone freaked out about, and it's still a travesty. But it's like, I remember there being like, screenplay was stolen, and there was lawsuits involved, is what I remember. I don't remember the outcome. I'm going to have to look it up, because now I'm curious.
Damn.
Because I specifically had to go out of my way. There's next week still, because I'm like, I kind of dig, but also kind of don't dig. I'm conflicted when it comes to Shakespeare. And obviously when I'm typing in movies, like movies based on plays and stuff and looking through all the movies, there's a lot that are based on Shakespeare adjacent. And so we watched this one. So I didn't put any other on this poll, but I think next week I'm going to put Romeo plus Juliet on the poll because I want to see the Lars Berman one. I've never seen that one, and I want to. But
oh, you've never seen it, dude? I've seen that one a lot, actually.
Really, the DiCaprio one?
I really like it. Yeah,
it looks fun. I mean, Lars Berman is he's a bombastic kind of director, so I want to see it for that. But but I mean, fuck it. It's like. This movie was fine, but I'm still just kind of salty that Killer Joe didn't win. So I'm just gonna put Killer Joe on every
the
poll.
Killer Joe over all 5. Yeah. Well, I'm like, yeah, dude.
Well,
I put
Bug. I put Bug on this week's poll and watch Bug.
That's right. I saw that.
Bug win over Killer Joe. Which don't get me wrong, I love Bug. But
it's
Killer Joe's way better.
The last I looked, it's already winning. Well, I wanted freaking Indecencies or whatever,
Incendies, which is what I voted for, just because I've never seen it.
I voted for Incendies because I really want to see that, and it's our guy, dude.
Villeneuve, man.
I want to,
old Denis.
And so
I know, I that's one that's been on my list for a long time, and long-time listeners. I mean, the only person who probably noticed is Clones Are People too. Is that I put that on the poll like probably 4 or 5 times, and it never wins.
Right. Yeah,
because it's just like it's on my it's pretty high on my to see list, and so I'm like, oh, that fits the genre, you know.
Yeah,
but you never know. All the people on YouTube's, if you're watching, hello, and if you've made it this far, we love you. I thank you. I want you, because the reason why Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead won is because 13 people voted for it on YouTube. If you're one of those 13 people that saw the poll and voted, you're awesome. Thank you. But you voted for Rosencrantz or Guildenstern over all those other movies, especially Killer Joe. I want you to go down to the comments right now and tell us. Yeah. Just tell us your thoughts, why you like it, and your first memory of it. Why you picked that one, other than it just sounded, because it's a great title. I'll give you that.
Oh, it's dude. It's a good title, man.
If you don't know,
it's gonna be about lawyers.
I know, right? But yeah. So it's I don't know, because I could definitely see the cult vibes of this movie, because it's there's not enough.
Well, it's got that. It's got the
niche.
What is fucking we watched it called Mr. 1900 or something, or what's that called?
Yeah, The Legend of 1900, dude.
The Legend of 1900. It's kind of got that Tim Roth vibes. It kind of feels like that kind of movie to me, where it's this lower budget 90s film that's kind of gimmicky, but I mean, I really liked this movie on its merits for its writing.
Yeah, like you say, most movies, acting, I'll remember the peaks and the sour, the sour in my I don't know what allergy I'm trying to use there. But
in your heart?
Yeah, the fucking
the sour in your gummy worm.
The black rotten coal in my memory that is Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead is gonna be the music. Because I'll think of a funny scene that didn't even have the music. I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that was pretty cute when they're jousting and they're
that's
the rebuttal, and then it's gonna be
yeah. No, that's what it is though too. It's there weren't even really there wasn't any reactions from people. It just a scene would kind of end, and I'm like, this doesn't. This feels like this is all they had on the edit.
Yeah,
they were like, well, we'll just do it. But anyways, so I mean, beyond that, one fun fact though that I really like. These two characters, historically during this play, they would if they were played by two people, they would be interchanged. They would not. Each character would change the actual player, or it'd be played by one person, and they would just be each character.
That's fine, and that makes sense. Yeah. Why they obviously lean so hard, and you never know which one's clever. Which. You think they know, and when he's all right, catch me when I'm unawares, you know what I mean? He's trying. He's I tried. He's I said Rosencrantz. Did it work for you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they kept being Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. He looks at the same guy. There's a lot of really subtle bit. They commit to that joke all the way through, and I really liked it. And it makes sense that is an homage to that's some theater nerd shit, man, for sure.
I know it is. No, dude, I know. I'm surprised
most of this movie is theater nerd shit.
Yeah, right. It's I love and respect the theater nerds, man. I'm with a theater nerd right now. That
I
love
I know. I met your girlfriend in theater class.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's I wish, and that's why I did this too. It's I like plays. I'd like to go to the theater more, but it's just it's so much more of an effort.
In this economy?
I know. God dang, it's expensive too. Because like, remember I was looking at fucking shit last time. They got 12 Angry Men coming up playing here at the Hell Theater, and those are like Broadway. I mean, not as good as Broadway, but some people from Broadway come here to that. So I'm like,
well, of course, no. Hell Theater's big, dude. We're the longest running. Hell Theater's like one of the longest. It's the longest running Nutcracker.
Have you been?
In the US,
have you been to the new one? You've never been to the new one, right?
I don't think
they
so.
they built a really nice one in Sandy, like
I went to the ballet
eight years ago, something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's like fairly new. I say new, and I say 8 years, but time flies. But yeah, I feel like like 2016 or something.
That's new when you like live in a city, you know,
Yeah.
like established in a city.
Yeah, it's fun. We only went there one time. We saw Adam's family there, which was weird but fun.
Do you have the? Oh, that I heard that was fun. Do you want to do a Reddit, and I will tell the fine people how much this money made and how much this money lost?
Yeah, I'm curious how much it cost.
The fact that like all three of the main players in this movie blew up and are very well established now, you know, and I don't even know if Tom Stoppard's still alive. Freaking, he was born in
Richard
1937.
Dreyfuss. Don't be jinxing it, because Richard Dreyfuss, I'm pretty sure, is still alive somehow.
I mean, it says
he looked like he was about to die in this movie, and it was 34 years ago.
Yeah, no, well, that it's because
which he was awesome. I do want to watch more stuff with Richard Dreyfuss. I like him.
Oh damn, yeah, he's still, dude. That's crazy. Tom Stoppard's still alive. But anyways, this movie cost $240 million. I mean,
I was gonna say
2.4 million.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say 240,000, which makes more sense.
No, right. No, dude, I literally watching this movie. I said,
Mil.
if this was made for $1 million, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But 2.4, that makes sense. I get that. But it only grossed
film's not cheap.
790 million.
Yeah.
It was like 700 or yes. Oh my god. 790,000.
Yeah, 790 million.
I know, keep adding the million. Yeah. But move a decimal point. But it's like that's like nothing. That it didn't make anything back. This is I assume that this was
not
like
surprised.
they just like, you know,
it's
chalked this up. And I think it's because it's like the 80s and 90s. They were making a lot of film because we had home theater, and so it's like people just like you would make the straight to VHS and then you know in the future straight to DVD films more often, where it's like, okay, we're gonna make, that's how it is, dude. It's like, oh, we have $20 million for this year. Let's make, you know, 18 movies out of that 20 million.
Yeah.
And give them, you know, and allocate funds.
That's what I miss, because now it's like let's do 250 million on like something that an algorithm went through and was going to be profitable.
Right.
And
whatever Jockey Chicken was on TikTok, and they're like, all right, we'll pump and dump, dude. That's like what they
seriously.
do. Seriously. You got a Reddit from our fine friend.
I got one Reddit. Yep. And it's from Clones of People too. He says, first watch, I knew this existed as a play, but I did not know it had a film version, and certainly not one with such great actors. I'm mixed on this, and I think it works better on paper. I totally agree. The idea that two comic relief characters become aware is great, but I found that the film relied too heavily on the audience knowing Hamlet. I have read Hamlet before, and I still found it confusing, but I imagine this film could be very off-putting to someone who does not know the play. There were lots of times where if you were not aware of the play, you may not know what was going on. I like the acting. Roth and Oldman are so good in a buddy role, and Richard Dreyfuss is great too. Took me a while to recognize him. I know, right? Same. There is some great dialogue and back and forth sparring and some moments of absurdity that I liked. It almost felt Monty Python-esque. As much as I liked the meta story and the musings on fate and destiny and actor versus character, I sometimes found that to be a bit too much psych babble, right? I want to watch a film, not a lecture. Overall, mixed bag. I like the ideas, the acting, and the dialogue, mostly. I just like the way the viewer needs to be super familiar with Hamlet to not be too confused. If you like this, The Lion King 1.5, Timon and Pumbaa are Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, which Thank you. Thanks for the comment,
dude.
man.
I
had no idea
commented
that's
on
what it
that
was about.
because
That's
I was
amazing.
Like, I was like, that's genius. Like it totally works.
Yeah.
Because I guess
because that's Hamlet.
Famously, Lion King
Not
is
Hamlet. It's Macbeth. Fuck.
I mean, no. I thought
Is it?
No, I thought Lion King was Hamlet.
No, you're right. It is Hamlet.
Yeah,
I'm so stupid.
Yeah, Lion King.
Dude, I will
King's
never
Hamlet.
get them right in my
I know.
brain. I will never get them right.
I know. Yeah.
They're literally
Well,
Rosencrantz and
maybe-
Guildenstern, though. That makes sense.
But they are. That's what's
they
so
are.
funny.
Yeah.
Like they really are. Yeah. And so that's what. Yeah. So Lion King is Hamlet, and they did that. They did kind of a run like that with some. I mean, I guess Shakespeare's kind of like woven in everything that's like Eurocentric, like.
They're so timeless. We could do an entire month on like Shakespeare adaptations because it's like a lot of stuff you wouldn't even know.
That
too.
I was going to suggest that as
maybe
like a thing, like,
one day we'll circle
should
back
do that.
around. We will not anytime soon, but we'll because we're
in a couple months. Yeah.
Yeah, we might even have another Shakespeare coming up. I'm gonna just do the last instead of doing Killer Joe for every poll. I'm gonna do all Shakespeare.
Denzel Washington's freaking. That's his last role is going to be. I think he's playing Macbeth. And so
he already did, right? He did. That was the Coen Brothers movie that they did. Is the tragedy of Macbeth, which I did put on a poll a couple weeks ago and I lost.
Oh, okay. I'm getting mixed up then.
That is one of his.
I thought his last film.
It's one of his last films that he's done up to date. I don't mean is he done making movies? I don't think so.
I know he's supposed to retire. I thought he said he was retiring after he did that, but I guess
I mean maybe
I read like an
I
old
can't think of a movie because that movie that movie's like a few years old, and I can't think of a movie he's been in since then. So I don't know.
When did he did Gladiator 2?
Oh,
so
that
might have been after.
that was literally
That
this
was-
year. Yeah,
That was like
or 2024. Yeah,
24. Yeah, right. So
he's looking
I don't
old
know
as
what his
fuck,
last-
man. Denzel.
I know.
I just looked him up. He's 70 years old, and it's just like.
Man.
I'm like thinking, obviously like Training Day or something. But like, look at this old motherfucker. Sorry.
I've seen him. He looks even older in Gladiator too. Yeah, that's good. Oh, I like that.
So old.
That's what it should just. That should be your your picture for.
And they say black don't crack. Look at him. He's fucking ancient.
he looks great.
Nah, he does look good for 70. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I just wasn't.
You look like him.
I'm gonna look exactly like Denzel Washington. I'm 70, so shut up.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna look.
No, he looks
like
good.
a
I just wasn't
wrinkled
expected
pug.
to see him so old. I don't like seeing
I know,
actors
don't-
of my youth so old. Like
I mean, yeah.
elderly.
Robert De Niro's one of those,
elderly.
like, oh, dude, how about this? Christopher Walken in Surveillance. In Severance. It's like
He's so old.
I like. Yeah, it's like one of those things where I'm like, oh, I picture him in like Pulp Fiction, and then I see him in that, and I'm like, he looks like he looks
even
like an old man.
Even Gary Oldman, I mean, like I know he plays it up and he just plays old men sometimes, and he can probably look pretty dapper. But I was like shocked to see him so young in this movie because Gary Goldman, no.
Gary
No.
Well, dude, you know what he was doing? He had a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean energy in this movie. Like he was doing a lot of
you wanna
Jack Sparrow.
See, now I'm just looking. Yeah, it was that. God, he's very much just like pulling a Jeff Bridges right here, but it's just like,
Oh yeah, that can't be Gary Oldman.
Yeah,
No. Everybody, go to the YouTube and look at that. Go to timestamp like 52 minutes in. That is not a
Gary Oldman rolls,
that guy.
man, though.
That guy sells weed at a 7-Eleven. Yes, it's not a Gary Oldman, dude.
So I don't know, because even Tim Roth, man, I can't handle it. So I'm not ready.
But see, on Tim Roth, kind of like in that Lie to Me show, I thought he kind of looked. But Tim Roth, or no, wait.
Dude, Gary Oldman
Yeah,
is 67.
Tim Roth and Larry David, I get those. Or not Larry David,
How you gonna get Tim Roth mixed with anything, dude? He's like, I'm fucking dying here, man. He can't.
I know. No, I love him in that. I can't think of the guy.
Yeah, Lie to Me, though. I mean, that's like solidly late 40s Tim Roth doing it.
Yeah.
He's the best part of that show. I watched some of that show just for him, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what I was expecting. It's like
Fox,
it's like
Fox, like Bones.
It's an ABC
X-Files.
procedural, about
Yeah.
catching liars. So anyway,
Who am I thinking? Anyways,
Who are you
man?
thinking of?
If I could
that
remember,
you can't mix Tim Roth up with?
He's an old comedian. He's in like a firefighting show. God, what is his name? They seriously, dude. They're like.
But it's Eddie Izzard. It's who because I watched Lie to Me at the same time as I watched that show, The Riches, which Eddie Izzard was in. It's pretty good.
Larry King. What?
What?
It's making me so mad. I can't think of it right now.
All right, go post it on the thing.
He has a song called "I'm an Asshole." What is that guy?
He's got a song? I don't know. Tim Roth. I don't know what my favorite role. It's like he just does the best when he's doing Quentin.
Oh, honestly. Dennis Leary. He reminds me of Dennis Leary, dude.
He reminds you of him, huh?
Yeah, go look up Dennis Leary and look up Tim Roth, and they could totally be related.
They probably are related.
They probably are, dude. But Dennis Leary, he looks like, Dennis Leary looks like he eats rats in an alleyway. Tim Roth, like at least looks like a. Yeah,
no.
I'm telling you, dude, they could totally be brothers.
Okay. Anyway,
all right.
I have nothing else to say. We're not even talking about.
Do not judge us. Do not judge us off of this podcast.
Yeah, if this is your introduction to us,
I don't welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. We have good stuff.
I'd love to say it gets better, but it's basically this.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know what we're watching next week. I did the poll hella late, and I probably might do it hella late from now on because I've thought about adjusting our schedule. I don't know. We'll see. So I don't know what we're watching next week. So be sure to, if you're listening to this, go check out the YouTube or the Reddit. Go vote. Got some pretty good ones.
Go vote for that.
Yeah.
Even though this is in the past and you're watching this.
They're all that's the only one I haven't seen. They're all good though. You know what I mean? I was just kind of evening it out. I thought I had my money on Moonlight just because it's like a one Best Picture, but
yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, people might want to mix it up. The Father, I think, is kind of underseen, but Bug is definitely underseen.
Yeah, Bug is winning though right now, dude. So we'll see.
But it's because it's because it's kind of the outlier. You know what I mean? And it's like, again, I like Bug quite a lot.
Oh, me too.
If if Killer Joe lost and Bug won, I'll be surprised because Killer Joe is just like the better movie, but like Bug is very good.
Yeah,
Bug is just a psychological paranoid fucking disaster, which is awesome.
Right. No, it's intense.
For doing
it's fun. It'll be
for doing plays month.
It's like a one room.
Yeah.
It's like a one room play too, which is nice.
Well, and it's like the plays we've watched haven't been. I mean, like Streetcar Named Desire is pretty heavy. But like if we end up watching Bug, it's like Bug is like a horror movie. Like we could watch Bug in October, so it's interesting to see.
Yeah.
Those kind of movies, in the play setting. So we'll check it out. And I'm sure Incendies, I know that's like a thriller too. So
I heard that's supposed to be pretty.
That's the route I was going. These are all a little bit more serious movies. So after Rosencrantz or Guildenstern Are Dead, I needed something to cleanse my palate that's gonna make me fucking depressed in a way that the guitar score in this one did not. This made me depressed in a far more troubling way.
Alrighty, thank you everybody.
All right, goodbye now.
Goodbye.